Hey guys, thanks for stopping by for another video here at alliseeisW. In today's video, I'd like to just talk about the market turmoil that's going on right now. We've been seeing just a sea of red in stocks and Bitcoin, even the Magnificent Sevens, including MSTR, MicroStrategy stock today was just a really red day across the board. And most of you are wondering what should you be doing? Is now a time to sell or buy? It really depends on your investment strategy, but I think it all really comes down to your investment style. I would really suggest, taking the fight or flight response out of the equation, meaning, you fight by continuing to dollar cost average down and not really just panic selling. And of course, understanding what your risk tolerance is. And when you look at it, most of all of us here, I mean, we have many years left in trading and investing. So we're not out of the woods yet with this bearish market here. But just one thing to keep in mind is historically, out of the last 90 years, we go through a bearish cycle once every 6 years. So, going through like a 25% drop that happens once every 6 years. However, when it comes to like a correction of like 10%, we actually encounter that once every 2 years. So keeping that in mind, 2 to 6 year comparison and what we're going through right now, who knows? We may very well go through an early bear market here. However, we can't rule out the fact that it may just be a 10% drop off. So let's begin, guys, by just covering the macro scale updates here. Just all of what's going on right now is just around the uncertainty over the US trade policy, along with just the new tariffs that Trump has enacted with 25% tariffs on Canada, Mexico, an additional 10% tariffs on China. And that's really sparked fears of higher costs for business consumers. And ultimately, that may lead to just a dollar slowing down, the circulation of just globalization. There's also concerns around the economic growth in that we may very well see a slower economy in play. And, with what we're seeing is that there's heightened fear, consumer confidence. I think, the fears around tariffs and potential federal spending cuts could really cause this economic slowdown, which is pushing the economy towards a potential recession. And one of the things that Trump has announced is that he's ruling out a potential for a recession. And what, most people are wondering is whether, we're going to see continued inflation and whether this is just a tactic that the administration is using, right? And Trump has talked to Jerome Powell to reduce interest rates. And with what we're seeing now, I think of the overall market as an indicator for whether the government will use the lever switch. So anytime when we see the economy growing, where the stock market goes up, then inflation numbers tend to go up. So the government, what will they do? They, turn up that lever, crank it up, and have inflation go up. Now, what happens when we actually see economic fears slow down, similar to what we're going through in the month of February and March? What happens is the government will start, pulling down the lever and bringing down that federal funds rate. And I think that may be the tactic that's being used right now. And of course, Trump doesn't want to see the economy going down, right? That really impacts the business of his own business as well as the entire world. But I think what we're going through right now is also, tech sector weakness. We've seen just big time drops. In fact, Tesla dropped by 15% today, one of the worst days since 2022 with the last bear cycle. Nvidia also dropping, Meta dropping, Google dropping, but none of these companies are really impacted by tariffs. So I think all of what's going on right now is just global market reactions that we're seeing with heightened fear, uncertainty around just with this trade war that's going on with these big time countries. And really comes down to what we'll see with the CPI data coming up on Wednesday. So so much volatility going on here, and most of you are wondering, is now a time to dollar cost average down? Is now a time to sell? I would say yes, while we do have turbulence here, just look at it from a long-term perspective. There will be calmer days. Being in the stock market, yes, it takes a level of patience going through these type of hurdle events, but from a long-term perspective, that's how you win in this market. So I hope that, we're in it for the long-term course. So let's begin, guys. What we're looking at here is just a posting here from Leia here. Over 1.75 trillion was wiped out from the US stock market today. It's not just crypto. What we're seeing is a natural reaction to Trump's trade wars. We'll go back up again. You look at the Mag 7s here. I mean, it was just a sea of red here. So everyone took a beat down here. So now's the time to just ride the wave, and I wouldn't worry so much here because everyone's going through the pains here. Let's take a look at this posting from Jason here. We hit green, send it. Bitcoin is full send. So back in 2020, when we saw that run up and then that downward motion, what happened after that big time red candlestick? We started seeing consolidation before that next huge gap up post that halving event that took place with the last bull cycle. Now in 2024, we had that post-halving event, and are we beginning to see history repeat itself, or are we going to see a bearish cycle here with the price of Bitcoin? Of course, we don't have a magic 8 ball, but hopefully it follows this trajectory here with Bitcoin, following that last bull cycle run up here. Let's take a look at this posting from Adam here. For those of you who feel fear, extreme fear is a feature, not a bug. It's the market's last gasp before wealth is reallocated from tourists to time-hardened holders. In fiat world, fear is destruction. In Bitcoin world, fear is discounted access to monetary immortality. So just in here, the fear and greed index, I mean, we've just reached that point of extreme fear. And, back about a year ago, we were like extreme greed. Now, I definitely do think here's an opportunity to dollar cost average down. Long-term perspective, Bitcoin just continues to establish higher highs, higher lows, support level. We will continue to go up, but right now there's just fear, uncertainty. But look at that as an advantage to just, accumulate more Bitcoin if you have belief in Bitcoin. Let's look at this posting from Bill. Y'all never change. Bitcoin is now experiencing its 11th 25th percent correction in 10 years. And every time everyone reacts like the sky is falling, and every time everyone screams that it's different this time, this pullback looks, smells, and feels 100% just like 2017 to me. Rising fiat liquidity leading to massive asset price gains. Right now, the new admin has decided that we need lower treasury rates to refinance debt, lower mortgage rates to unlock the housing and CRE markets, lower treasury rates to save banks from their collective insolvency. China is in a deep recession and needs lower US rates to support its own money printing regime, and print they will. We're likely going to see massive job cuts via government cuts, tech cuts, and housing related cuts. At the same time, ISM will likely rise for the next several months. All of this tells us liquidity will continue to flow and the markets will do what they always do in this type of cycle. That liquidity will flow into stocks, Bitcoin, crypto, and real estate. Once again, buckle up. Now, let's cover technical analysis here. So, I just wanted to give you a long-term perspective of what we've seen back in 2023 after recovering from that bear market cycle from the last prior bull market here. What are we seeing? I mean, we're seeing higher trend line here since 2023. Yes, we did see, 2024 reaching its prior resistance back during the prior bull run. And just with Bitcoin consolidating in 2024 for like most of the year, I mean, for like 8 months, with that election news with Trump winning, come November, we saw this big green candle here, and it's been just consolidating in the 90 to 100,000. And just since the month of, January, we've been just seeing this downward pressure here. So, first, arrow down here that caused a lot of downward pressure. We experienced a second downward pressure here. Now currently Bitcoin price at like 78,000 here. With this support being at 77, I think that we potentially may not be out of the woods. We may very well see more downward pressure. Now, understanding Bitcoin reaching close to about 110%, if it drops down to that 60,000 range, very possible. Question is, can it drop even further beyond that? At one point back in 2024, we did see, the support level back in August dropping down to 49,000. But can Bitcoin drop down to 49,000? It's not improbable. It could very well drop down to 49,000. We've seen it drop down to 49,000 at one point, but I don't think it can drop any lower than that. I think that where we are right now, we're experiencing a falling knife right here with Bitcoin, but hopefully, I'm incorrect there, and hopefully Bitcoin price can start consolidating and going back up. But I think that it's just a matter of time, whether we see, I'm just gonna just paint an overview here, whether we see Bitcoin, drop down to like the low 60s, high 50s, and then over time it just consolidates and starts running back up, similar to what we saw, with this bear cycle here, that U shape. So are we going to see that U shape play out or a V shape? So U shape meaning, we head towards 2026 being the bull cycle, but according to the last cycles that we've seen with Bitcoin, historically, it performs 3 years of positive upside. So if Bitcoin doesn't follow that historical trend, then that means the data is changing. But if we do follow the Bitcoin bull cycle with every post-halving event, we may very well see Bitcoin price just shoot up here. So with this big time volatility, hopefully we can see some nice price action. And again, 2021, we saw that big dip and it ramped back up. So we may very well see some huge price action coming here, but we're definitely not out of the woods here. What we see in red is definitely opportunity for Bitcoin to drop down even further, just based on the technicals that I'm seeing here. But hopefully we can, see Bitcoin start, consolidating, breaking out of this major, drop down here. Even just with, looking at the Magnificent Seven, I mean, looking at Tesla just in the year 2025, I mean, Tesla dropping by 47%, Nvidia, close to 25%, even Google dropping down 13%, along with Meta, having some pullbacks here. So these Mag 7 companies, high quality stocks that, really power the US economy here. We're seeing huge pullbacks here, but why is this the case? I think this is all attributed to what we're seeing with the fears of a trade war, a slowing economy, and sticky inflation, with tech sector pullback as well, all being amplified, with this uncertainty from, with what's going on with Doge, cutting lots of jobs, and, with tariffs coming into play here. So I think the market is reacting to this here. Question is, how long will this continue? And are we going to see, the S&P drop over 25%, or is this just going to be that 10% correction, which is what we see once every 2 years or 6 years? Let's take a look at, the technicals on MSTR here. So just looking at the daily charts here. So we see, three arrow drawdowns here, and we continue to see MSTR play out here with just continued consolidation, just reaching lower support levels here. I mean, all of what was gained back in November, it's all being, downward motion now. I mean, where we are right now, support level 239. In fact, today it dropped 16%. That is big time drop. It is definitely something to consider, in that we may very well see more drops, especially with what we're seeing with MSTR along with other stocks and Bitcoin as well. I have a support line here at like $200. If MSTR breaks through that $200 goes below, we're in big time trouble here in the just the interim nearer to midterm here in the year 2025. But hopefully we don't see, MSTR breaking through that support line of 200. But if it does, then, we're definitely going to see consumer not being confident in this here. However, I do see opportunity with just dollar cost averaging down when you look at it from a long-term approach. I think that MSTR just has so much Bitcoin, and Bitcoin price will just continue to go up, especially with all those, fundamental news with the US, having a strategic Bitcoin reserve. But right now, with what we're seeing with market uncertainty, look at it as opportunities to just continue to buy if you have conviction in MSTR. But just based on the technicals, we may very well see just further gravitational pull down. But hopefully, we see a V shape or a U shape where it just goes back up based on what we're seeing here. And just looking at the weekly charts here, what are we seeing? I mean, just based on trend line, I think one of the key indicators is, you know, we continue to see upward motion here. I have that in white there, but just scaling out here, we continue to see higher highs. Yes, we see some downward pressure here. I mean, of course, we saw that big run up, but all of what we're seeing right now is just that pressure due to the economic uncertainty. But I think long term, definitely an opportunity for MSTR to just go back up in price. So with that, I want to play a short clip here from Senator Cynthia Lummis.
I encourage people to buy and hold. I encourage them to say Bitcoin for their retirement, for their future. And that's because as the Congress spends trillions and trillions of dollars and is flooding our economy and the world economy with US dollars, there's no way that we cannot debase the value of the US dollars.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know what your thoughts are. What's going on in this market now? Are we going to continue to see the stock market go into a bear market, or are we just experiencing a correction? So let me know what your comments are. I read through everything, and thanks for stopping by, guys.